Hello, guys, and welcome to the fourth episode of Film Frauds. And the only reason I'm doing an introduction today is just to preface two things. One, the opening of our video, the first maybe 30 seconds to 3 minutes, are a little awkward this time because Zoom decided to update and an automated voice came on saying, "Hey, Zoom is recording," and it kind of screwed us up because we weren't really sure what to do. But it was just that. So the first few minutes are a little awkward, but I mean, it's not terrible. So I thought we'd keep it in instead of restarting, and Matt agreed. Yeah, and then the second one is there's going to be timestamps in this video on YouTube. Basically, it'll just be probably three separate stuff. The start of the Walk Among the Tombstones non-spoiler section, spoiler section, and then stuff we want to watch, as those are the only two things we talked about this week because there was no movie news. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that, and these intros aren't going to be every episode. Matt got a little grumpy with me and he's like, "Oh, don't do them. Blah, blah, where's your point in this? Because I already do an intro." Well, Matt, you don't have control of it, but I'm going to listen to you anyways because Film Frauds cannot break up after 4 episodes. We're too strong. I say that, but there could never be a fifth episode. But yeah, this episode's really good. We talked about Walk on the Tombstones and then stuff we've watched in the last week. I think the discussion for this movie is really great because I recommended it. But yeah, enjoy, guys.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the most must listen to. Whoa.
Whoa.
Keep it in. All right.
Keep it in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Film Frauds, where, we're filming it live and a lot of crazy things can happen, including a strange robotic voice telling us that we're recording.
That was really weird. That was brand new. We're new to Zoom, and my Zoom updated, so.
We're new to the Zoom update, yeah. But wow, really, pounding in our professionalism right now.
All right, Matt, what are we talking about?
So, my name is Matt, and across from me is Tyler, and this is episode 4 of Film Frauds, movie podcast that we do. What are we talking about today, Tyler?
So 2 weeks ago, you recommended we watch The Handmaiden, and in episode 3, we talked about The Handmaiden for 35 minutes, which is a lot longer than I thought we were going to. So this week, I recommended a movie, and at the end of this episode, you'll recommend one. That's kind of what we're doing because no new movies are coming out. And then at the end of the episode, we'll just talk about what we've been watching. So for this week, I recommended A Walk Among the Tombstones, a 2014.
A Walk Among the Tombstones?
God damn it. We're so professional. A Walk Among the Tombstones, a 2014 Liam Neeson detective movie. I was going to say action movie, but it's really not.
No, it's it's like a suspense detective movie.
Yeah, I saw this movie in theaters in 2014, and I remember really liking it. When did you see it for the first time?
I saw it on TV, probably in 2015 or 2016.
Was it edited? Was it how an FX will release something?
Yeah,
edited?
I think I saw it on FX actually.
Was it edited down from the one you've seen, content-wise, or?
Well, I didn't watch it on FX this time. I think it was a little more graphic this time.
Okay.
With swearing and stuff, but I'm pretty sure in the FX one, all the violence was shown.
Okay, so what were your first thoughts? You saw it in whenever it came out. What was your first thoughts?
So when I first saought it was because this was during the time of when Liam Neeson was just making 20 movies a year.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, this movie's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's not because again, this is during the time where he was just making a ton of action movies that some of them were better than others, but none of them were exactly raising the bar.
Yep.
In levels of character work or directing or anything. But this movie is just a straight detective movie, and there's not a whole lot of action in it, and the violence that you do see is very realistic and very grim, and it's not supposed to be oh, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
He plays more of a character. He plays more of a realistic detective kind of character, and just I was surprised by how well directed it was, how good it was considering the other movies he was making at the time.
Yeah. This came out again, like I said, 2014. I think also that year the movie Nonstop came out with him in it.
Yeah.
Where
with Joel McKinnon or whatever.
That's the movie with the plane.
I'm thinking of Run All Night.
I completely forgot about that movie. I have seen. Okay,
they're all the same thing.
They're all the same. I have a weird track record where for some reason I end up seeing all Liam Neeson movies in theaters. I've seen The Unknown. I saw Run All Night in theaters. I saw Nonstop in theaters. I saw Walk Among the Tombstone in theaters. And I saw The Commuter in theaters. For some reason. I don't know why.
I haven't seen Commuter.
It's
Did you see the
adequate.
Taken 2 and 3 in theaters?
I did not see those. Those were thank God. But I saw the first Taken in theaters at like 10 years old,
Oh,
or whenever
nice.
that movie came out, 2008. Yeah, so
Yeah.
10. But it's you're exactly right, because Nonstop comes out, and Nonstop is like this freaking gigantic, bombastic action movie, and then Walk Among the Tombstones has two 15-second action scenes,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about brief. This movie, there's for me, I'm gonna critique the movie, but my critiques might sound harsh. I actually enjoyed this movie. I think it's like a 3.5 out of 5
Yeah.
movie. But this is not really major spoilers. There's also not a lot of substance to it, and that might sound bad. So there's not a ton to spoil. There's no twist with kind of like who the bad guys are. It's very upfront. But there's
Spoiler.
sorry. There's 2 action scenes in this movie, and Liam Neeson gets the shit kicked out of him in both.
Yeah.
And it's kind of great. He throws, I think he lands 1 punch in this movie, and it's a sucker punch.
Yeah.
And everything else, he's
And
just
the guy
beat
who's
up.
not paying any attention.
Yeah, and it's actually like a really smart scene.
No, it's actually good. I laughed out loud when that happened.
So, Matt, since I recommended this movie, I don't know. We both kind of were like, yeah, it's pretty good. So you watched it the second time, and what did you think?
I'd say like I remember thinking it was really, really good the first time I saw it.
Yep.
And I still think it's really good, but there are more problems with the movie that I noticed the second time watching it. Like like you said, it's not really as deep as you expected. Like, so there are really like varying degrees of this kind of movie. There's like top tier 7,
Yep.
kind of gritty detective dark subject movies.
Yep.
Where the 7 is, it's really grim and dark and disgusting at times, but
the characters are developed too.
What?
The characters are developed too. Brad Pitt is a developed character in that movie.
Yeah, and as is Morgan Freeman, as is like all the characters in it.
Yeah.
And then there's like the lowbrow kind of crap. I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but like something you'd see at like Redbox or something where it's just like miserable and gross. I'd say this is kind of like in the middle a bit. The character work I think is really good, and I think that although the movie can get disturbing at times, I think that it's the subject matter is handled like pretty appropriately. Like never feels gratuitous in my opinion. But at the same time, I feel like characters make stupid decisions, and there's like a kid sidekick that I didn't really like the second time I watched it.
That really stands out the second time.
Yeah, it's like he's kind of like the actor does a good job, but his character is like really unrealistic.
Yep.
And it just really has no like relevance to the plot. It feels like it feels like he's short round, but in a gritty, realistic detective.
Yeah, where it shouldn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I would say this movie's kind of in the middle between like a 7 and between like a 7 like a really well executed film and like versus like a lowbrow like stupid movie that you would watch.
Yeah.
Not you would watch, but
no, yeah, I would watch those.
You would watch stupid movies.
Yeah, I would watch stupid movies. I watch Bloodshot for fun.
Yeah.
So no, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Before I looked up before the movie started, I was curious about what kind of reviews this movie got. And I was with you. I remember really, really liking this movie. And I think that's a big reason is because it was a change of pace. All of a sudden, Liam Neeson's in like a smaller action movie. And again, I saw this in 2014, so it's been 6 years. And I looked at the reviews, and it's like audiences are kind of bleh about it, and critics are a little bit, but a little bit better, but not super great. And I remember seeing that, going, "Oh, that doesn't make a lot of sense." And then I see it, and I get it. I actually kind of disagree with you a little bit on the characters. I think Liam Neeson's performance is great.
Yeah.
But I don't think no one in this movie is a character except for the kid. The kid actually has like a backstory and development. Liam Neeson has a little bit. And then this is a movie where bad guys are bad for no reason. And I think but there are like small fixes I feel like we can make that add to it, which we can get to in a little bit in spoilers.
Yeah.
But bad guys
I
are
kind of
bad.
feel like the bad guys, I feel like they were kind of like they were jerks, but they never felt like comically evil, and that's what I mean when I feel like the character work was better in this movie compared to other gritty detective movies. Because I feel like David Arbor and the other guy, like they're kind of like smug, and I kind of like that. Like they weren't just evil. I didn't think they were evil for the sake of being evil. I thought they had like a sort of edge about them that felt realistic to me. And like they're kind of cocky. which I kind of like. They weren't just like these antisocial people. Like they were cocky and they had like these kind of like humanistic flaws to them that I kind of enjoyed.
See, I agree with that, but I also disagree with it. I like the cocky element of it, but I don't think it adds anything to the character.
Okay.
Because I think in the end, do we care about spoilers? I mean,
let's just say, like, do you recommend watching this movie to someone who hasn't
yes.
seen?
I think
Yeah.
for this genre, I think this is a I'm gonna say solid. Our friend Alex called me out and saying solid a lot, but I think this is for this type of genre. I think this is a legitimately 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5 solid movie.
Yes.
It's an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's a good movie. I think it's a decent movie and a good way to spend time if you're looking for kind of that kind of movie. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I'd recommend it if you like detective movies. If you
Yeah.
like Liam Neeson, if you like that kind of serial killer or detective genre, then this is definitely a movie you should check out because although it's not like on the degree of like a Silence of the Lambs or a Seven, I think it's probably like a couple letter grades below that, and you would still get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
I mean, I think out of the 2010s Liam Neeson action movies, I think it's not the most fun, but it's his best movie. I think Nonstop is his most fun.
Nonstop is a very fun movie.
Yeah, but it's not. But this one is legitimately the best, and we can get to that because this movie is really well directed. But yeah, I recommend this movie. You do too. So we'll get into spoilers.
Yeah.
We should preface that we should have said at the beginning that there's going to be timestamps in the description for when each section. I'm going to try. It doesn't take too long, but I'm going to do it. But now with spoilers, so if you don't want the movie spoiled for you, spoilers now. The main thing I wanted to talk about is and why I think they're just bad for bad sake is at the end when one of the bad guys kills the other bad guy.
Yeah.
For no really like apparent reason.
Well,
he was wounded.
I think the reason was because they didn't get to kill the little girl, and I think that he just had this revved up frustration that they had this kill taken away from them. I don't understand the psychology of serial killers, just for the record, but that's how I interpret it. Is there was like this frustration both, and they weren't able to kill their victim, which they've always consistently done. This is the first time they've had this kind of problem before, because every time previously, like the person who they're trying to get the money from has always listened to them completely, and they've been able to do whatever they want. So this is the first time they've ever actually faced conflict. And it's the first time they literally lost everything. One of the guys gets shot. They don't get the money. They don't get their victim either.
Yeah.
So I just interpret it as him being so frustrated at both his partner for messing up and for just like being in that zone where you're thinking if I was a serial killer, which I'm not, maybe.
Oh God.
He was just disappointed that it's like when you have something planned and then it gets taken away from you immediately, and then you get upset. You're like, well, I just had this in the palm of my hand, and now I can't do this thing anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, I get it. I get your point.
And then David Harbour knows it's coming too, because he puts a taser in his pocket, so it's not like he sees it in his eyes. He knows it's coming. It didn't just come out of nowhere.
That's a good point. That taser ends up becoming Chekhov's gun, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. No, I agree with what you're saying. And I guess my argument is I don't think it really adds anything to the characters. I think, and so the fix I was gonna say was that it's a little fix, but I think adds something to it. And it's basically at the beginning when Liam Neeson's trying to find out, and he realizes that they're going after basically you just hit the mic.
I'm sticking out my waist because I don't have my table with me.
Oh my God, professionalism, Matt.
Yeah.
But no, it's basically when we find out that they're killing the family members of drug sellers and drug dealers, like major ones, and we find out how is because they killed a DEA agent and took her files. Yeah. I think there's a very quick fix that adds something to their characters. Cut out that getting the file stuff. Make them just regular DEA agents
that'd be interesting.
Who just go off and go, hey, like this law isn't like we're not like they're not doing anything about these drug guys, because we even see the DEA agents know about everyone.
Yeah.
Because that one punch we talk about is Liam Neeson being tailed by the DEA, and he surprised them, and they're like, hey, we know about these people. Like, oh, okay, like you don't actually know anything, and that's it, and that's the only time they're in the movie. Have those guys be part of it. Have them enacting their own revenge for their own moral reasons. Boom, immediately more interesting characters, and it adds slight depth.
I didn't even think about that. No, that would be a really good addition. because then it would give them like sort of the same kind of training as
Yep.
Liam Neeson does.
Yep.
So it kind of makes them seem more intimidating because like, oh, these are professionally trained
Yeah.
DEA agents that
Yep.
know their stuff.
Yeah, and it also it adds again. Villains are the best when you kind of they so vehemently believe in their own stuff. You have DEA agents who take this kind of murder as a sense of vigilantism,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it becomes a far more interesting movie. Hey, we're doing these kind of hard actions, murder basically, to stop these people from selling drugs.
Yeah, but
Instead,
like I feel like that would take a like when it becomes vigilantism, then it takes a like I understand what you're saying. Like I think vigilantism works more for like a superhero thing. But
yeah,
when they're serial killers, it's not like they're not delusional in the sense that they feel like they're doing the right thing. Like they know they're not doing the right thing
yeah,
the whole time. Like it's just a mental obsession for them to do it. They never try to disguise what they're doing as being they're not attacking drug dealers because they want to like give them some sort of comeuppance or attacking
yeah.
drug dealers
That's a good
because
point.
because then the drug dealers can't go to the police
Yep.
and have help with getting their wife
Yeah,
or whatever.
because then all of a sudden it changes the whole tone of the movie. Okay, yeah, then maybe remove the vigilantes. They're just DEA agents who are just serial killers, and it kind of adds because then there's what this movie is lacking a lot of is depth in the story,
Yeah.
and I think then fine, we remove that they're doing it out of sense of comeuppance. How about they're DEA agents who are just doing this because they're serial killers? But then you can throw the actual DEA in there, like they had, like for a quick one scene in the movie, have them more involved, and all of a sudden the movie adds a little bit more depth. They're basically hunting, like it changes the movie, but I feel like this movie needs a little bit because
Yeah.
I gotta ask one, what is Liam Neeson's character? He shoots at the beginning of the movie. We see him be a dick because he uses like a swear, a racial swear against his partner, and that establishes. He then kills people who are shooting guns and then kind of like nonchalant and then accidentally kills a 7-year-old girl with a bullet. Is that all we know about his character? Does he
He's
have?
an alcoholic.
He was an alcoholic.
Recovering alcoholic.
Yep.
And he sort of has a problem with because a lot of during those like talks he goes to, it
Yep.
talks a lot about like surrendering yourself
Yep.
and accepting your powerlessness.
Yep.
So I guess there's like a degree of that as well, even though he like doesn't really work for him because the whole point of him involving himself with this plot is because he is more powerful than say like the drug dealer who's never dealt with
Yep.
The serial killers before. So he's a very powerful person.
Yep.
He's the only one who stands up to the serial killers. So I didn't really understand how like surrendering yourself to a higher power or accepting your powerlessness with alcoholism really associates itself with the plot.
Yeah, it's weird. He doesn't. He's not really. And there's also you would think because I feel like there's easy fixes. His adoption of TJ the kid,
yeah,
as kind of a surrogate son would have made more sense if he had had a kid and lost a kid, but we never see that. Instead, he kind of seems like he begrudgingly takes on him.
He just randomly shows him like the articles that he's investigating for no
reason.
Well,
he sees the kid. He overhears the kid basically like, "Hey, you've been sleeping here again." He drops it. He notices he's a great artist and then invites him. But then for the rest of the movie, for a portion, kind of just like, "Hey, like he's clearly like a good person," and you see the contrast from the first scene to the second scene, and when he eventually kind of comes like that. But the inclusion of the kid in more violent actions when they are going to a shootout at the end.
Yeah,
it's
why would he
weird.
bring him in the car? He especially when he finds out the kid has a gun and he's like load it, cock it, and point it to your head and pull the trigger because that's what's going to happen if you.
And then he leaves him.
This life. I mean, there's that, and also he brings him to a shootout where he's going to be in more danger than anything else.
And do you want to know how he can start? They go, wait, where's TJ? Oh, because the kid has sickle cell anemia, and then the shootout's
and it's
over.
pouring rain out.
And
they established it's like really bad for him. And then he's out. Then he's sorry, I don't want to yell. Then he's out. He's out in the van, and it's like raining out there. He's like, stay outside.
It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. And at the end, okay, there's this weird end shot of the movie. Again, we like this movie. We want to preface that. There's this weird tone about this movie, and I don't know if you caught it, but the end shot is when he's looking at TJ sleep on his couch, and he draws him as a superhero. But then the camera pans out, and it goes up, And you expect, because the movie is concluded and it shows it's New York, because the movie takes place in 1999. Um, um, so, but the music comes up, and the music is somber and it's depressing, and the movie ends. And that shot reminds me of a type of movie where the movie ends, but then it pulls back, and the characters and you're like revealed to the audience that the characters kind of haven't escaped something, or they're still kind of that. It's really tonally weird because you expect, hey, you know, he's done better. Liam Neeson doesn't change in this movie. The movie starts with him already having proved himself, and then the movie ends with him the same thing, but now he has a surrogate
he wants
son.
to change throughout the whole movie. Like, the movie starts with him already kind of overcoming the alcoholism and stuff that he suffered from. And then, so he doesn't really go through much development.
You know, he's already overcome it. He's already a better person, because it's a weird, the first shot of the movie of him being when he accidentally kills a 7-year-old girl, to then where you see him now in 1999, because it takes place, it's like 1992, 1999. He's already had his arc.
Yeah.
And then he gets included in it, and then he gets surrogates. It's a weird, like, again, Liam Neeson is really great in this movie.
Yes.
He's great in this movie, but the characters in this movie are very wonky.
While we're still on complaints, what did you think of the Y2K backdrop? Was there any
weird.
relevance to that?
No, it was
they
weird.
They keep bringing it up, and like there's like Y2K spray painted on the walls when they're walking, and it's like they're talking about like, oh, technology will end.
Yeah.
This will be the end of the world, but it has no significance to the plot at all. I
couldn't figure out
why it was there.
Yeah, you almost expect the bad guys to suddenly be kind of those people, but are the bad guys kind of like symbolic of the Y2K? They're this kind of movement that will just unseen. See, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make any sense. You're right, because his whole introduction to TJ is I don't trust technology.
Yeah,
you know
what? It wouldn't be bad if like it was just the setting. Like it's no big deal, but they keep bringing up Y2K and things like
there's
keep
newspapers
the
of it. The character will often look at newspapers, and it's the front headline of it, like Y2K scare. You're right. I forgot about that.
It would happen like once or twice just to establish like, oh, this is why they're not this is why they don't have smartphones, because this is during 1999, and just to establish like the setting. Yeah, fine, whatever. But yeah, they keep obsessing over the setting.
But then Liam Neeson, is that his character development? Because eventually he gets a phone to contact TJ. No, he doesn't. He gives a phone to TJ so he can contact him. It doesn't make. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, this is based off of a book.
Is it based off a book? Oh, yeah,
it said at
right.
the beginning.
Yeah.
So maybe like the thing with maybe all our criticisms that we have, like with the backstory, the Liam Neeson's character growth, and the serial killers. Maybe all this is more elaborated on in the book, and then when the filmmaker is adapting it, they just like, oh, like they didn't understand the significance of it, so they just put it in.
We got to read the book for. I'm very curious about this book now, but
yeah.
I want to talk about one more complaint. And I texted it to you when we were in the middle of watching it. The climactic shootout where they basically exchange the girl. It's not great, and the reason it's not great is because after every major action in the shootout, they freeze frame or have a voiceover of the person at church basically talking about. And I know you mentioned like it's his character arc of him kind of surrendering to kind of like all of this, but the inclusion of that screws up the pacing of the scene and ruins the tension of it too.
Yeah,
it's weird. I don't know. What do you think about that scene?
It didn't really bother me.
Okay,
I thought it was like I prefer that a little bit of style over, because like if there wasn't that narration over it, it just would have been a generic action scene.
Yeah, I get it.
It's not like they have Alex Garland directing the movie or anything, so it's not like you're gonna get really good action. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It didn't really bother me now. I thought it was a nice stylistic choice for what it was. Like I don't know, it didn't really compare that to like the Taken 2 fight scene where it's probably the same kind of direction, but without any of like the relevance to the character.
Yeah.
I was fine with it. It didn't bother me like it bothered you.
No, I didn't. It didn't necessarily bother me, but I think it just ruined the tension of the scene, because at that point we've established like, yeah, people can die, because before that, when they exchanged the girl, they had cut off 2 of her fingers to the bone, and you're like, oh great, like okay, cool, anyone can be harmed. As soon as you set up the rules that a kid is hurt, anyone can die, and I guess we see that with an early appearance by Boyd Holbrook, who's the villain in Logan. I also
yeah.
I want to throw this out. The dude who directed this wrote the screenplay for Logan.
Really?
He also wrote the screenplay for Minority Report. And this is his second movie. He directed a movie in 2007 called The Lookout, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who stars as Chris Pratt.
What?
His character's name is Chris Pratt.
Oh,
and
okay.
and apparently the movie has decent reviews, but it came out in 2007, so he's not like he's apparently a rather talented. He's worked with Steven Spielberg. He
Yeah.
worked on.
I would say like the directing of this movie is probably the best part.
100%. It has a lot of style.
It adds like I think more gravitas to the movie.
Yep.
And like this, because like we're picking out all like the writing flaws.
Yeah.
With it, but like it's so well directed. I think that when you're watching it, you can overlook it because it feels more serious and more artistic than the actual subject matter that they're talking about.
Some of my favorite parts in the movie, and this is just simple, but they just put the camera down, and characters will often walk into the shot and then leave the shot.
Yeah.
And it's just the camera moves, and it's all kind of one take.
Yeah.
But it adds you're right, it adds style, and there's definite care with this movie. And that is very apparent in it. And you can tell because Liam Neeson is never this good in movies. The 2010 movies and on, he has never been this good. He's
definitely trying too.
Yeah.
You can tell he likes this material.
He is putting in effort, and I don't know. I was rather impressed, but I honestly kind of dug the end, how simple the end is. Well, one, you talk about stupid character decisions. Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens dies in this movie.
Yes, and almost comical fashion
because he knocks out the guy with the bottle, the bad guy. They got him in a very
he's literally tied up behind a heater.
Yep. Thing. And they set that up, by the way. They put the handcuffs. By the way, I just want to throw this out there. I don't know if handcuff keys are universal. Are they? If you have one set of the mechanical handcuff keys, can you unlock all of their handcuffs? Because they come in and they use different handcuffs, and then he goes in the drawer which they set up. Does he then take the keys and then unlock it? Also, how does he get the keys? Because he can't bend over and he has to grab his. Listen, but it's a whole thing where then
they show him open the drawer with his foot.
Okay, but he has his shoes on.
He has shoes on.
Does he take the shoes off?
He wrapped his toe around and also got his toe somehow. Like, how would you even move your leg to? Yeah, that was too much. That was way too much. And then of course Dan Stevens is like walking around like literally as slowly as possible.
Yeah, like checking out
because he's in the basement because they get him tied up.
Yeah,
and then Liam Neeson gives him the option to say, he's like, we can either call the cops or you can torture this guy.
Yeah, and they clearly set up like, hey, there's I think it's Liam Neeson telling the audience like, hey, yeah, like we're gonna get him. There's gonna be fibers. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He has a torture dungeon in the basement, and then. But I like that character moment too. I was a big fan of it because he kills him and then the guy comes and sits down and eat, and they basically walk into his house with a gun and he's like, "You got me." And I'm like
that
great
moment, but I'm just like setting the background for the stupid decision that makes. And then so he elects to torture him.
Yeah.
And then Liam Neeson's like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave now.
Goodbye." And then he comes back in for some reason.
He comes in because he puts the kid in the taxi.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all of a sudden he's like, maybe I should go back in there.
Maybe he's not dead. And he comes
back. And then
back.
somehow, so of course Dan Stevens goes to the basement and is walking as slowly as possible for no reason. Because all of a sudden he becomes like a sadist that he just wants like to cut this guy up for no reason.
Yeah.
And he puts his hand in the disgusting water, like in the sink, the giant butcher's knife is in the sink, and there's all this bloody water in it.
Yeah.
And he puts his hand, which has a cut on it, so he has it wrapped. And he just puts his hand in there. I'm like, why would you do that?
What if he just dropped dead? He put his hand in there and he just died.
Yeah.
He's immediately went to his heart. No, but it's also like, it was that comedy because the hand he puts in there is the hand that is then cut off. Somehow, okay, so basically, the guy escapes. We see there's a fight off camera. The guy actually does get hurt. So Dan Stevens puts up a fight, but he dies. He dies somehow. His hand is cut off. And then he's dead on stairs. In a scene that made me laugh out loud because it got rid of all tension. Liam Neeson is walking down the stairs and then trips and falls in the blood.
Yeah.
I was like, that point, I laughed, but I was also like, that was really funny and also probably realistic because he takes one step on the blood while sneaking with the gun and then just falls.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh great, and the guy sneaks up.
I like that shot though when he's when he comes out from in the background.
Yep.
The series, like I thought that was a good shot.
Yeah, it's talent, and they have a legitimately 15-second fight where Liam Neeson gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson then tasers the guy twice. He stands up, and the guy's like, and then Liam Neeson shoots him in the head. 15
the taser
seconds.
Part was cool because the first time he just absorbed it and tried to shrug it off and he just get tased again.
Yeah.
And of course Liam Neeson drops taser right next to him for no reason.
He's like,
I can't hold this anymore.
God damn it. Oh no, it's like, and then the movie's over. He shoots him in the head, and then the cops come. And at that point, I always wonder about because this movie is again set in the real world, like legal issues. Like, hey, why were you here? Like, did you just murder that dude? Yeah. What about the dude right over there? Like, what's going on? I don't know. It's a lot, and then the movie ends, and then he basically adopts the kid, most likely.
Yeah. The kid that no one likes.
Yeah, the kid who gets jumped in the movie.
Yeah. And then he has sickle cell anemia. That has no relevance to the plot at all.
No, it's to show that Liam Neeson cares because after the shootout, he goes to Kenny. He goes to the guy.
He cares so much, left him alone with a gun.
He tells him to blow his brains out. A kid who is clearly trying. No, my favorite part is not my favorite part. We actually do have to talk about our favorite scene because it's well done.
We have to talk about that.
But Kenny, he's like the kid. He has sickle cell anemia. And Kenny goes like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, who gives a shit? And he's like, oh, we have to find him. And then it ultimately leads into the house and like a weird short round roll where he's like
he's in the van and it's so comical. Like, how did he get in the van?
How did he not see? Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like he's like, what are you doing there? But wait, where are they? All right, go to the house. See the number.
That's the only reason why he was in the van was so they could find the house.
But then they even have a line. They're like, it's a mile away from here. It's not even a mile away from here. I don't know. Again, directing of this movie is phenomenal. Like everything in this movie, directing wise and style wise, it's great. Yeah. It's dirty. It's grimy. No one is like super feels clean.
Yeah.
There's also the great shot of the guy with the bird just kind of casually jumping off.
Oh, Jonas,
yeah. I forgot about that until he stepped off. He's like, I take care of my birds. I was like, he's going to kill himself.
My birds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can feed your birds.
So he was...
Liam Neeson's Irish in real life, so I wonder how, if he was taught, when they were doing the scenes together, if he just accent listened to his real accent. Because, the other guy's clearly Irish, and this is talking in his regular accent.
No, it was, I like that guy. Again, this movie is not a really deep detective movie. There's no,
I'd say the first half is under the illusion that's a deep detective movie.
Yes. And then all of a sudden...
It's pretty good. Like, when he first gets on the case, he's talking to Jonas.
Yep.
And then, the scene with, the little girl crossing the street, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But I'd say, it's, the scenes with the kid aside, it kind of starts off really good.
Yep.
And then, the final fight, it kind of just falls apart because, nothing really makes any sense.
Yeah. I also, two things. It's like the movie, and we'll talk about this later in what we've been watching, because I want to talk about the show Hannibal later. Yeah. But it's like the movie realized, oh my god, the creep guys are really good actors, are killers. Yeah. Hey, fuck it, let's include them in the movie more.
Yeah.
Because there's that weird flip, which our favorite scene we'll talk about. But there's also, I forgot what I was going to say. No, yeah, you're right. It's basically just like a flip happens. Like all of a sudden they're like, wait a second, our strength of the movie is probably these guys too. And then it just includes them in the movie. It's like the movie kind of grew to that realization. But yeah, it's under the illusion. Oh, the opening credits are interesting.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, great. Because you have no idea, because you show, I thought, you realize the opening credits are basically a girl bathed in white who looks like she's kind of like, it's basically look like she's having sex. But
you think she's in because it's you think it's white clothes and they're cuddling or something.
Yeah. I thought, and then there's a tear drops down her eye, and the movie goes. I thought that was something with Liam. That was is that the backstory for Liam Neeson's wife? Yeah. I'm like, you have no idea. Turns out it's the dramatized version of the serial killer's perspective when they are killing and raping a girl.
Yeah, was that Dan Stevens' wife?
No, that was the drug dealer, the second guy who lives outside of the apartment from Jonas.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Great. Because you establish, it's a really smart way, because you establish Liam Neeson's character at the beginning, and then you establish the bad guys without even us realizing what is happening.
And
Loved it.
It makes it more disturbing because you think it's pretty innocent at first.
Yep.
It's pretty innocuous.
Yep.
But then you see the tear, and then you see her grab this metal table slab, it's like, and then like, oh, she's being tortured or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's pretty great. Yeah,
It's great. Our favorite scene, because then I feel like we've talked about it. Our favorite scene, completely out of left field, tonally
yes,
so different than the rest of the movie. It's basically David Harbour and the other bad guy, Ray. His name is Ray. They realize they've been stalking this family, and they're like, oh, we're gonna get the wife. They realize the wife of a drug dealer. They realize the wife's actually the maid. They think they messed up. Then his daughter comes out walking the dog. Then it's slow-mos with Atlantis by Donovan blaring as
yes.
David Harbour stares like lovingly.
It's on the radio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stares lovingly at this girl.
Yeah.
And then it keeps going. It's 30 seconds, but it shows like his transfixion with her.
Yeah.
It's
you understand you're for a second you're in their minds.
Yep.
And you understand like at this point, like, oh, they're targeting this girl now.
Yeah.
Like, this is all they can think about, because it's brilliant also because the movie's template is very gray.
Yeah.
And then she comes in and she's wearing this a velvet red coat, and she's like, it's probably the most visually like stimulating thing in the whole movie, color wise, because, and then you just understand like, oh, like this is their new obsession, this is what they're going to target now. And like that and with the opening credits, like you understand the way these serial killers think just through visual storytelling.
Yeah.
They don't say, oh, now we're going to target this person. Like,
you
understand everything they're going to do based on the directing and on the visual acting and everything.
Yeah, it's great. So, that part, it stands out.
Yeah.
And you're right. It introduces,
and the music the music helps as well, because it adds like this kind of like sick tone to it as well.
Yeah, a sick fantasy element.
Yeah.
They're like, great, we found her. Yeah. I mean, listen, we just sound like we just dogged the movie for a while.
Yeah.
It is a simple but stylistic movie. Yes. And I think you would be hard pressed. This movie completely fell. Movie cost, I think I read it was anywhere between $25 to $28 million to make. It made around $60 million box office. No one really saw this movie. It came and it fell under the radar of the Liam Neeson movies because he was making 2 a year.
Yeah.
But it's probably his best one. Like, I really, like, I'd be hard-pressed to find another one that you leave and you go, that was probably his best movie.
Yeah. It sounds like we're dogging the movie because we just talked about The Handmaiden last week.
Yeah.
And it was just universal praise. Like, everything we do is perfect. So, like, I mean, not every movie can be The Handmaiden.
Yeah.
So
we're about to see for my next two movies are not going to be loved movies. So you're going to see kind of you might have a really good one. But this one was really curious because, again, I chose it because I remember really liking it, and I know you really liked it. And it was interesting to see how it held up, and I think it holds up. I think stylistically it does. I think there are some good character moments. I think narratively it is its weak point.
Yeah, I would say, like, there's definitely things that I forgot that I really liked in the movie. Yep. And there's some things I forgot that I was like, not so crazy about in the movie.
Yeah, not the best.
So I'd say overall, like, my opinion of the movie was basically upheld because I forgot things that I liked and I forgot things I didn't like, so it kind of equals itself out. It's a solid, like you said, 3.5 out of 3.5 out of 5 stars kind of movie.
Yeah.
3.7283 Schmoes out of 5.
Yeah, Schmoes knows. We gotta let the Schmoes knows. We want them to return. No, that's
you want them to return.
I want them to return. I want the comedy show. That's basically that's Walking on the Tombstones for us. That was my recommendation for the week. And now because I think we've been going for a little bit. Now we're just gonna give our brief what we've been watching. And then and then Matt will give us recommendations, and then that'll be the episode. So, what have you been watching? Give me one or two things.
On Memorial Day, I was watching History Channel, and Vietnam War in HD was on. I've never seen it before, and I was like, oh, I'll just watch this because whatever. And it was really good. I couldn't stop watching it. So there's 3 episodes, and each episode's 2 hours long, and I DVR'd it, the rest of it, but I love history. I'm a big history guy, and I think this movie, History Channel documentaries they're getting a little bit better with kind of revealing that, maybe America wasn't always 100% good at everything. Yeah, but like they still have a little patriotic swing to them a bit. But I'd say this movie does this series does a pretty good job, like showing the Vietnamese side of the conflict, and it's just cool seeing this war that it happened in the 60s. So like at the time of recording cameras, like the quality of the recordings are always terrible. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool seeing like everything in HD. It looks really good. It shows a lot of like you don't really see like you don't see people dying or anything, but like it does a pretty good job showing like the war in the front lines and showing different Vietnamese communities. and it's educational, and you can learn a lot, and it does a good job showing like the Viet Cong are this at time and where the U.S. soldiers are at this time, and I was very intrigued to it, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're more of a history buff than I am. For me, I decided I wanted to. Well, we'll talk about a show in a second. I watched a few movies this week. I can just quick go. The Fugitive,
Yeah.
amazing. Mystic River, amazing.
Get off my plane.
No, that's Air Force One.
No,
That hasn't happened to Mystic River. Sean Penn's great. I forgot how good of an actor Sean Penn was.
I haven't seen Mystic River. That's directed. That's a movie. That's a book written by Dennis Lehane, right?
Yeah, and it's directed by Clint Eastwood. It's set in Boston, so everyone has Boston
every
accents.
Dennis Lehane book is in Boston.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's great. But the movie I want to talk about.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but you know what? I read the Live by Night Dennis Lehane book.
The Ben Affleck one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I own that book. I haven't read it.
The book is really good, and I saw the movie, and I thought the movie kind of is bad. It doesn't have the best reviews.
Yep.
It was a while ago, but I watched the movie, and I really liked it.
Yeah. All right. That's Matt's recommendation for Live by the Night, the Ben Affleck movie that no one cared about.
Yeah, that contributed to his alcoholism.
Yeah.
That was like a double knockout. That was like Batman vs Superman came out, and it was terrible. Live by Night came out right after.
Do you remember his interviews for Live by Night where everyone's like, hey, what about the Batman? He's like, can we just talk about the movie I made? Please. I don't want to talk about Batman.
I spent years making this movie.
Can we shut up about Batman? And now do you think he looked and saw Zack Snyder cut coming out and he's like, fuck.
I wonder how much Warner Bros had to pay him to retweet release the Snyder cut.
Oh my god.
Like, Ben, I'll give you $50 million. Just put the hashtag release the Snyder cut out.
He's like, no.
No.
Oh, God, I just got sober.
In my head canon, you know the scene in Justice League at the end where it's clearly like a really CGI shot of all of them.
And it's not Ben Affleck.
And Ben Affleck looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy underneath the bat suit. In my head canon, he was driving to an AA meeting, and a Warner Bros exec comes online. He's like, Ben, we need you to shoot one more scene for Joss Whedon. He's like, no, I'm not going to. He's like, Fine. We're Skyping right now. How about I just take a screenshot of your face and we'll CGI it on? It's like, okay. I'll take it in 3, 2, and at 1 he just puffs his cheeks out, goes, and then they take the screenshot, he hangs up, and that's it.
Do you think the executives looked at him? They're like, how much fucking weight did he gain? Fuck it, make the batsuit bigger.
Yeah, whatever. No one cares about this movie.
When that movie came out, 2016, 2017. No, it's 2017. We can have a fat Batman now.
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna say. What were we talking about? Oh, I saw the movie. The Lovebirds, the 2020 movie with Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae. It basically, I only watched it because I haven't seen a lot of 2020 movies.
Yeah.
And I was mainly just like, hey, let's see what 2020 has to offer. It's bad.
Were you watching because you liked The Big Sick, right? So
I love The Big Sick. I really like Kumail Nanjiani. And it was 87 minutes. I want to watch more Hannibal tonight, but I also kind of want to watch a movie. So I put on that movie. It was 85 minutes with credits. Well,
that's short.
It's really short, and there is no reason for it to be that short. Okay. So that movie, Kumail Nanjiani is a great actor. He's phenomenal in The Big Sick. Yeah. Big Sick is one of the best movies of 2017. He is so great in that movie. But in this movie, it's like they went, hey, you sound really funny when you yell. So for the first 45 minutes of the movie, all he does is yell. And it gave me a headache. Because they think it's he does, I must say, there are a few points when he's quiet and he's having like his deadpan comedy.
Yeah.
He's funny. I got a few solid chuckles out of the movie. But for all the times when he's yelling, it is so annoying. The movie also introduces a couple, gives them their relationship, and then breaks them up in the first 6 minutes of the movie, and the plot goes. And then basically, you spend the rest of the movie like hoping they get back together because they're forced to go together. The movie's 85 minutes long. Make it an extra 10 minutes to set up the relationship. Because then all of a sudden, then I care about the rest of the movie. It was 6 minutes, and then they broke up, and I was already contemplating turning it off.
Tyler's like, how am I supposed to sit by the fire eating a tub of ice cream and crying if I don't believe in the relationship?
I need to feel what they're feeling. No, it's like they break up in a car, and then it's like it has the Netflix sheen. It kind of like doesn't look like a real anything's happening. It's simple. It has like a few moments. It has like 3 sets. It has like a few laughs, and then the movie ends, and you go, I kind of already forgot what happened. And then that's it. Kamal Nanjiani is good when he's not yelling. Issa Rae is fine when she's not yelling. There's a lot of yelling in the movie. It gave me a headache. And then I left, and
It's
then
like
I watched...
Man of Steel, but a little bit better.
I want to make you watch Man of Steel. I want to do that for one of our
I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, so have I. It's great. No,
It's
Lovebirds.
literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
No, don't watch Lovebirds.
The only good thing to come out of Man of Steel was the Red Letter Media review for it.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. My children.
Da, 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 da. Ah, my baby.
Yeah, so the Lovebirds, don't watch it. It's completely a waste of time.
Yeah.
Matt, what's the second thing you watched this week?
I watched a movie called The Invitation.
Ooh.
And it's on Netflix. It's one of those movies that's been on Netflix for a long time.
Yep.
And it's always a movie that's interested me. And I decided to finally watch it because it was an hour and 40 minutes long.
You're seeing a trend. We choose movies that we don't want to spend too long watching.
I like how I'm like, yeah, I watched 6 hours of a Vietnam War documentary, but I can only watch an hour and 40 minutes of a movie.
After that point, I'm taking a nap.
And it stars the guy that's not Tom Hardy.
Logan Marshall Green, who's great in Upgrade.
Green, and it's about him and his girlfriend. They go to a house in California to meet their old friends who they haven't seen for a long time. And you figure out that the woman who owns the house, she was once married to Logan Marshall Green, and they once lived there together. But then you start to figure out that some sort of tragedy happened that separated them. But she has a new boyfriend, and they're all with their friends. And you start to get the feeling that the ex-wife and her new boyfriend aren't quite right in the head, and shenanigans ensues. This movie was fine. I was excited to watch it because I really like hour and 40-minute long movies that are thrillers.
Yep.
Like I think I talked about this 2 podcasts ago when I was talking about The Black Coat's Daughter.
Yep.
Like I like horror movies that are short, horror and suspense thrillers that are short to the point, like Green Room, Black Coat's Daughter, The Witch. Those kind of movies.
Yeah.
And I was expecting this one to be kind of in the same regard. This movie isn't as intense as the other ones, and it has some kind of cringeworthy dialogue. Like they're all friends, but like there's some really cringeworthy stuff that happens in the movie.
Yep.
And can I just go into spoilers?
Go for it.
I thought talking about the spoilers.
All right, spoilers for the
spoilers
when does this movie come out?
You're not really missing much, so that's okay. So it turns out that Logan Marshall Green and his ex-wife, who house they're at, they had a family together. And then somehow, like their kid was killed at a party, and it made both of them grieve a lot. And then they break up, and then she marries this guy who was like a Hollywood producer who like got into drugs and stuff. And they both have gone through a lot, so they join a cult. And at one point in the movie, they show all their guests like a short video of like this girl who's in the cult, and she's dying. So they just show the video of her dying, and it's really disturbing, but in like a weird way, because like the cult leader she's with is it's like really kind of like endearing in a way, but also really disturbing because she's like in her 30s and she looks perfectly fine. And like it's also disturbing because they're showing it at a party with like no context, and they just expect everyone to think it's normal.
Yeah.
And so they're a little over the top, and eventually you figure out that like they're gonna try to kill all the guests like through like a what's it, Jamestown massacre kind of way, where
like
they
drink the fruit punch kind of thing. Yeah,
like, they have like all this wine out, and they're gonna all drink the wine because they'll all die and go to whatever their cult's having is at the same time. But Logan Marshall Green figures it out and like starts smashing all the cups, but one girl drinks it, and then it's like the girl dies, and then the couple start murdering everyone in the house, and then like the ex-wife shoots herself in the stomach because she can't live with herself anymore, and then Logan Marshall Green and his new girlfriend walk outside, and like the ex-husband who's part of the cult like lights a candle, like a
Yep.
red lamp candle out, and they look outside and they see all these red candles lit all over California.
Oh.
And like suddenly like all of a sudden like all these helicopters start swimming in, and like it's like implied that it's like this really huge cult, and like they're all doing their own sacrifices all around the area.
Oh, so mass murder kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of thing. It was like the ending was interesting, and like towards the the final confrontation is good, and also there's some good parts because Logan Marshall Green is clearly very disturbed from being in this house again, whereas Cal got killed, and like there are times where he thinks he's figured out like something's up, but then like it ends up being proven wrong.
Yep.
And it just kind of dragged out a little bit, and you kind of know where it's going. And I think it would have been more interesting if he was crazy and nothing bad ended up happening.
Yeah.
Like they're part of a weird cult, but it's not like that weird. Like it's kind of strange.
It's kind of like a grieving cult where it's kind of like a community
like
to get
like,
over
not
stuff.
A cult that's trying to commit mass murder for no reason. So like I think like they could have gone a more interesting route with it and just had him just be crazy,
like a kind of study on grief and what it does to people.
Yeah, study on grief. But instead, it's just like oh, another cult thing. Oh, they're just.
Oh look, it's everyone.
It's like the trope of this is prophecy, so therefore everything, all the logic of the movie makes sense because it's prophecy.
Yeah.
It's the same things like it's a cult, so therefore every member of the cult is crazy and they'll just believe everything that they say.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of those kind of movies where they have the ending where it's like, and it was bigger than you thought.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of takes away from the whole, like, it's supposed to like scale it up, but I always feel like it ends up taking away from the movie. I like those small scale movies like you do. So yeah, The Invitation. Do you recommend it though?
Well, I just spoiled it, so not really.
Not really. Okay.
I mean, like it was. There are better movies to watch if you like that genre. Like I'd recommend Green Room or The Witch or Blackwood's Daughter, any of those shorter horror films, suspense films over that.
Yeah. That makes sense. And my final thing, because you've also seen this show, is the Hannibal. I finished Hannibal season 1. It's on Amazon Prime just right away. Spoilers, sort of. The show is really good.
Spoilers, the show is really good.
Spoilers, the show is really good. No, we'll talk about specific. It's hard to talk about a TV show, but I can give this one thing, and then it's actual spoilers. The first 4 episodes and the last 9 episodes feel like completely different shows. And I texted you to this. It is like the first 4 episodes are so safe. Not super safe, but they are
gory, but like it's kind of more episodic if I'm
it's kind of like the serial killer of the week. And then I think the show realized, hey, we can get away with a lot more than I think we realize, because all of a sudden you have I can't wait. Because there's 3 seasons. Matt has seen all 3. He loves the show. I have only seen the first one. But it's like they went, hey, we can get a lot more gory. Hey, the dude who plays Will Graham, holy crap, he's a great actor. Let's give him more stuff to do. Mads Mikkelsen. Is he British, really?
Yeah.
Of course he is. All British people are so great at doing American accents.
Good American accents.
Oh, like we can't do anything.
We're like, Brian, we got that. Like we have the
worst the crumpets off.
Accents. Yeah.
It's great. The first 4 episodes, there's legitimately one comically bad scene in the first season. Which I'll talk to, I guess, after I say spoilers. But the first season's great. It's stylistic. It's also, if you have never nothing about Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs, if you haven't read the book Red Dragon, you can watch it, and it basically keeps you up to date. It treats the audience intelligently, which it does more and more. There's a great shot later in the season where a guy is being escaped away from a psychiatric hospital, and he's talking to the 2 people in the back of the car who are transporting him, and you assume the guy's going to get out and kill people, but instead it cuts to white and red, like a white shirt, and red's just like coming from the white, and it starts with that in the credits, and it's like, okay, like clearly he killed the 2 people, but we're not going to show it. And it's just smart. It treats the audience intelligently. Yeah. I'm a fan. Spoilers. It's a good show. It's on Amazon Prime.
What was the bad scene though?
When they bring back Abigail Hobbs to her home in Minnesota, and the Nicholas Boyle, the dude comes like emerging from the woods, and he's like, "You killed my sister," and then they like comedically throw rocks at him, and he's just kind of standing there, and then he gets hit with one, and he's all surprised, and it's like Abigail Hobbs is a better actress later on, but there's that one scene where she's like, "Get away!" and like he's standing there, and he's surprised when a rock hits him, and he's like, "Oh, what?" and you're just like, what's happening? And then the people from the house like comically like walk down, like, what's going on? And then he like limbers into the woods, and they're like, we can't catch him. It's a weird 4 minutes where the quality like drops dramatically, and then it just picks right back up, and it's great.
I'm excited to because like I think we should talk about this. You probably can finish the season in a week at the rate you're going at.
I right now my pace is I'm watching 2 shows. I'm watching movies. I finished Hannibal season 1. I'm gonna finish The Expanse season 1, Hannibal season 2, and go back and forth. Yeah, so I'm not burning myself out on Hannibal.
Also, the cinematography in that show is really good too.
Amazing.
Like especially like in season 2 and 3, like a lot of like the deaths that are constructed are like really like immaculate in a way, like kind of like the trophy, like this the crime scenes of the dead bodies are get really like immaculate and stuff. It's really well done.
Yeah.
Also, like I've seen like bloopers for the show, and it's so funny because like it's such a dark like no one smiles and like everyone is just miserable and angry and terrified. And then in the bloopers, everyone's like just joking around having a good time. And there's literally a part where this is how cool Matt Nicholson is in real life. He like they're doing like a scene in the kitchen, and like someone laughs, and then Matt Nicholson kind of chuckles a little bit. He has a butcher's knife in his hand. He throws the butcher's knife up in the air, catches it like it's no big deal. Like he could have cut his hand open by doing that, but he doesn't even try and pinch himself. He's like he's just turning around just like to get back into character, and as he's doing, he throws the knife in the air, catches it. Just so cool.
What a badass! He is so great in this show.
He's really really good as Hannibal Lecter.
I think that smiling part actually bring up a good point. There is one part in episode 1 where Hannibal tells Will Graham to smile, and it's so uncomfortable to watch, and that brings up a good point. No one smiles in this show, and Lawrence Fishburne is one cool motherfucker.
You don't even know. You don't even know yet.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh my god. Yeah, everyone season 1 I think is great. Like it's really really good, but it's definitely the most like NBC. Yeah. It's like the most like serialized of the other seasons. Like season 2 gets pretty crazy. Season 3 is based off of Red Dragon, and I think it does Red Dragon better than the book.
Oh damn. Okay. Yeah, that.
And then so I'm excited. I think I'm excited to keep talking about it because I kind of want to watch it again, but there's so many shows I need to watch that.
Yeah. It's there's one of the best scenes in the show is where Lawrence Fishburne and his wife sit down and they talk about the wife's cancer.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we got to talk about this at some point. And it's just like, it's a great character moment. And the show's great. And they make humans, when Hannibal's cooking up humans and feeding them to people, it looks so good.
Yeah. You like to eat humans in general, so it's not like a big deal for you.
Me?
Yeah.
I like to eat people in general.
Yeah, so I mean, it would.
You said that with a completely straight face. I was a little concerned what was happening. You just deadpanned that. I'm really impressed.
You're like, did you just figure me out?
No, yeah, it's but there's also like little moments where at the beginning of the season you're like, what's Hannibal's deal? You're like, who is he? Because if you don't know who Hannibal Lecter is, it kind of teases it. You're like, is he? And then at one point he goes, oh, it was hard to catch. Like he's talking about the food, and it just cuts to a brief second of a guy running, and you're like, oh, you're like, okay, you're like, that's sweet. You're like, okay, well now we know. Yeah. But that moment is like, yeah, you know who Hannibal Lecter is, and it's all great, and it's really kind of and Mads Mikkelsen is so great.
And the writing, like the dialogue in the show is really great. Like every scene is interesting in some way.
Yeah, the show ends on a great cliffhanger, a great cat and mouse between. Well, just not really even a cat and mouse. It's just Hannibal Lecter manipulating everyone. And it's awesome. I really recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's 13 episodes, not for the faint of heart in the slightest.
The first season's 13 episodes.
Yeah. Does it get shorter?
It's like, no, you said it's 13 episodes. I thought you were just talking about like the whole show in general.
Oh, no, yeah. The first.
I just want to clarify that's not, the whole show is not 13 episodes long.
Okay. Yeah. I think each season's 13 episodes. So yeah. I'm a fan. That's basically what I'm watching. Nothing really new or exciting, but yeah. So Matt, what is our movie for next week? What are we gonna watch? I'm kind of scared.
2008 film that I've only seen once, and it's a couple of years ago, but I want to watch it again. This is Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler.
Oh my god! Okay, yeah, what's The Wrestler?
I loved this movie when I watched it a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
but I've not seen it since. So this is kind of why I want to do the podcast because I want an excuse to watch it again. But this movie destroyed me, as every Darren Aronofsky movie does. Yeah. This is my favorite Darren Aronofsky movie, and one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. I think, but I've only seen it once, so I want to watch it again just to like ensure that
Okay.
emotionally, this movie's really, really great. Mickey Rourke gives one of the best performances I've ever seen, and I'm so excited to talk about it.
Given what I know about this movie, my recommendation for next week is a complete joke in comparison.
Okay.
I cannot wait.
The joke of Film Fraud, so
Yeah, that makes
no one really
sense.
has high expectations for you to begin with.
Yeah, so I might as well.
Like, oh, of course he's gonna recommend
The
Harley
Mummy.
Quinn in the Suicide Squad.
I'm gonna make us rewatch the Tom Cruise The Mummy.
Wait, you just spoiled it.
Yeah, I want to make this rewatch. Well, no. That will be later down the line.
No,
I already have my.
Watch it.
I already have my movie for 2 weeks from now.
Well, you're gonna reveal it next week, and then
yeah, I'll reveal it next week. But
yeah,
I
but
have.
The Wrestler is only like an hour and 50 minutes long, so it's
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I was tempted to recommend Burning. Like the other
I've been watching Burning, but every time I look at it, it says 2 hours and 42 minutes, and I'm like, fuck.
I want to watch it again at some point. I feel like it'd be a good discussion movie because like I didn't love it when I saw it, but I feel like if I saw it again, maybe my opinion would change.
Yeah. Maybe it was sometime. Do you want to know?
But I want to do The Wrestler this week because I feel like it'd be kind of weird if I did 2.5 hour long Korean movies in a row.
Yeah. It's like, what's wrong with him? No, I just want to throw this out there. You know my Japanese author that I love that you make fun of me for loving? Because I also don't love him. I like half of his books, but I own about 15 of his books.
You've been roasting him more recently than not.
Yeah. His name is Haruki Murakami. His short story is actually the inspiration for Burning.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so I still don't want to watch 2 hours and 42 minutes. That's the main reason why I don't want to watch Heat. Because you look at Heat.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to sit through Heat and watch 2 hours and 55 minutes of that.
That's what I did with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like, it's like 3 hours long, but like halfway through, I'm like, this seems like a good stopping point.
Yeah.
And I stopped it, and I watched the other hour and a half.
That might be a good. That might be like, hey, I'm gonna watch.
I loved it, so
yeah.
It didn't really impact me at all.
Is that what, like, again? I watched The Irishman in 2 sittings.
I watched The Irishman in 2 sittings too.
I watched 2 hours of The Irishman, and then went, I gotta go to bed, and then watch the next hour and 45 minutes the next day.
Yeah. I feel like it makes movies better to watch them in 2 halves when they're that long, because then like you get too tired.
Yeah.
Of watching the same movie.
Especially The Irishman, because The Irishman is like it's a lot of character stuff. But yeah, that's now you have your opinions on longer movies. So
if he's got a gun, you run. Wait, no. If he's got a gun, you run at him. If he's got a knife, you run away. Gun.
God damn. All right. Well, that was
Al Pacino impression.
That was a horrible Al Pacino impression. Yeah. So I think we're shooting for a shorter episode, but it ended up being probably long.
Yeah.
So
wait, can you check?
I have no way to check, but
okay.
I'm assuming we're about an hour in right now. So yeah, Matt. Next week we're doing The Wrestler, Darren Aronofsky, 2008. Woo.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, this was fun. Yeah. Any final comments?
No.
No, that works. We didn't have any. We had all our technical issues beforehand, which was great.
we had the one big one as I was doing the intro.
Yes. Oh, for some reason it said recording started. I'll see what's going on, but yeah, we might have an awkward intro, but we smooth things out.
Don't worry, Tyler can do his own intro.
You giving me approval?
You can do it this time.
Yes, because this one was weird.
Yeah, just say like, just so you know,
yeah,
we're professionals. This weird thing just happened.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. All right, Matt. This was fun, and we'll see you guys again next week. Thank you.
Bye.